Okay, so it's the end of March, and I have to say that March has been doing very good to all the music lovers here in Toronto because, as far as I know, we have so many concerts held in March. Let's just say last week we have Jim. Do you know her? A very famous Hong Kong female singer here.
I don't know.
Yeah, but now you know her. And of course, we have Mariah Carey in Sony Center. So, what event are we about to have? Is what we are going to talk about today. So, first of all, it is our honor to have you here, Mr. Alice Pauk. And I want to ask you, could you briefly introduce what we are expecting?
Well, on the 24th of March, this coming Sunday, my orchestra will perform a program at KOERNER Hall. And the programming includes a brand new piece by a Canadian composer that I've commissioned specially for the concert. And the program also features two fantastic soloists playing very special concerti. One is a cello concerto by the Korean composer Unsuk Chin.
Korean.
Yes, and the other is a percussion concerto by a Japanese composer named Maki Ishii. And the cello concerto, the solo part, will be performed by Joseph Johnson, who is the principal of the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, and the percussion soloist is Ryan Scott, who is the principal percussionist of the Esprit Orchestra, my orchestra.
Oh, cool. So according to what you said, we have artists from worldwide. So is it at a concern that the music pieces is a worldwide pieces? You want to make it more international?
Yes, not only international, but also to do something that's unusual with orchestral concerts. That's to have two concerti on the same program, two very powerful concerti. It's interesting to note that each of the concerti draws on some traditional musical element from each of those cultures. So the cello concerto reflects on a kind of theater, pansori theater in Korea, and the soloist acts almost like an actor to draw in the audience. And then the percussion concerto is called Afro Concerto by a Japanese composer, but he's drawing on African rhythms, particularly from the pygmy style of music. And the instruments in the solo space are ones that are a little bit, some are primitive instruments like the early wooden beating instruments and kinds of drums that you can play by tightening strings. So it's a very special concerti.
Yes, I think so. But who do you think would be the target audience, especially according to the concert you have held before? Because you mentioned that it's from Korean, Japanese, and so many countries. So do you think it will be local Canadian or people from worldwide too?
Well, I think that the boundaries of music are breaking down,
Yes.
and so there's much crossover and influence from other cultures. And so in Canada we have very diverse audiences, and so the intention of my programming is to provide something for people who are curious and interested and open-minded, and my audience is made up of people from all ages. It's not a specialized audience. It's people who are interested in music.
Yes, I myself is very looking forward to it. And you just mentioned that we'll have a new pieces coming up.
Yes.
Concert, so could you tell us more about the new pieces?
Yes, the new piece is by Christopher Thornborough, and it's called Trompe l'œil, and it translates kind of a painting technique, painting, like a visual art painting, whereby the artist tries to create a sense of three dimensions on the canvas by the brush strokes. And so he tries to transform that idea into musical expression. And in particular, it refers to a painting called The Goldfinch by a Dutch composer, Carol Tsordilius. And so, again, there's a reference to something beyond just music. Yes. There's the goldfinch and the painting, just as in the other two works, there's reference to other cultures.
So you have just talked about the elements beyond music. This makes me think of the stage design as well, because you as a director, could you tell us more about what else elements we have during the concert beyond music?
Well, I think that the audience, in not only listening to the cello soloist, but watching, it's a very difficult solo part, and it's very expressive. So it's almost a dramatic element just to watch the cellist. Joseph, to really work on the solo part, he took 1 week and went to the Banff Center for the Arts just to do nothing but practice this solo part. And for the percussion concerto, Afro concerto, the percussionist has 3 separate spaces, each with its own group of instruments, and he moves from one to the other. So it's a kind of a choreography of movement of the percussionist. It's not exactly dance, but because he's changing positions and moving with a really wide range of instruments in front of him, it is almost like a choreography.
So it's not only about the music, but also the visual effects.
Absolutely. In fact, very often our audiences say, we just love watching the percussion section.
Yes, of course. Then I have a question about myself I wanted to ask you, because nowadays, it's new media-based technology, society.
Yeah, yes.
So no matter it's about the pop music or it's the classic music, it is very easily to search them online. But so what do you think that the live concert bring to the audience that which is irreplaceable?
Well, first of all, it's the tactile, the sensual experience of it, because it's the sound waves are not only hitting your ears, but they're hitting all parts of your body, and also the space that you're in resonates with live music. Whereas if you're sitting in front of a TV screen, there's no resonance of the room. And in fact, one of the wonderful features of our concerts is that we perform in KOERNER Hall, which is almost the best acoustics in Canada. It's a beautiful concert hall, and the sound, it's made for those sounds to surround you, to immerse you, to envelop you.
Of course, and you just mentioned that about the choreography, the atmosphere is kind of different from just listening to your phone.
That's right. Yes. And the other thing that's important is that you're with people.
Yes.
And so you're reacting to people on stage, but you're also reacting with the audience around you. And then at intermission and after the concert, you can have a dialogue with other people and discuss this, That's right, yeah.
Cool. And I know that this is the Esprit Orchestra season final concert, so can I understand it as a series of performances, but this is just the final concert?
This is the final main series concert of our season. However, we have another smaller concert April 5th in which
next month.
At Trinity St. Paul's Center. And that program features 5 brand new works by young composers. So one of the things I'm always doing with the Esprit Orchestra is engaging the emerging or the young professionals and giving them an opportunity to take steps up in their career. And that program is designed expressly for that. It's called the New Wave Festival. It's a reprise, New Wave reprise.
So you just talked about that the April is about the young professionals. So I wanted to ask, how do you get access to the young professionals?
I'm always listening. I have my antennae out, and so I go and listen, and I also have young composers that I work with advise me as to who they know I should connect with.
So can I suppose that we have topic for each of the concerts? We have a topic.
Yes, a theme. In the case of Grand Slam, the one at KOERNER Hall on March 24th, Grand Slam refers to the fact that we have these extraordinary soloists who are playing really challenging, big solo pieces. It's like they're going to hit the ball out of the park, you know, a Grand Slam. So the idea is that it's really going out there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you just talked about the cellist solo, right?
Yes.
And I know that he is kind of returned back to the stage according to the information you gave us. So that he is returning back to the stage. How come that he come back to the stage? Is it because of your invitation or something?
Well, we invited him once before to play a major cello concerto by a French composer. And our relationship, our working relationship and musical relationship was so very fine. And I know that he is Joseph is up to the challenge of doing leading edge, difficult projects that normally would not be heard in this country. And so we're happy to have him back because we know he's dedicated to the cause.
So speaking of his challenge of preparing for a concert, is there any challenges that you are facing with? Because we know that if you wanted to hold a performance, you need to organize a lot.
That's right.
Perhaps you have a rehearsal things, you have to arrange the pieces. So do you have any challenges?
Well, first of all, I devote a great deal of time each year to planning my programs so that the sequence of pieces, not only the sequence of concerts, but the sequence of pieces within a concert has a flow. So that's the first thing. And then scheduling is a complex business because the musicians in my orchestra have other engagements in the city. And so there's that. I mean, these are just practical considerations. And of course, raising the money, that's a challenge too. And so I'm involved with that. I stay involved with organizing many things because it enables me to continue with the vision of the orchestra as I founded the orchestra 36 years ago.
36 years.
36.
That's a history.
Yeah. So it enables me to keep the very clear vision of what I set out to do and maintain that vision.
So you just mentioned that it has been 36 years.
Exactly.
So what is the key element that you think is improving this 36 years?
I think having developed a core of musicians who work well together, who have developed over the time the skills to play this kind of music, because it's very challenging. It's leading edge, and there are new kinds of notations, the way music is written, and you have to give yourself over to that, to learn how to express that music. So I think that those musicians have grown together. We have grown. Myself and the musicians have grown together to understand how to do it, but everybody that's with the orchestra wants to do it too. So it's not just kind of mundane next job, you know. You have to believe that this is worthy of being presented.
So it's a team developing, not only the musicians, but the composers and the other artists we have here. So at last I wanted to ask you, what do you expect the audience to gain from the concert after listening to the concert?
I think it's not just entertainment. It's you hope that there is some kind of learning but transformation of of feeling and thought, and maybe an emotional. It may be an emotional development, or it may be one that satisfies an intellectual way of thinking about music. I think that's it. It's hopefully transforms ordinary life
Yes.
in some way. So when you leave, you feel uplifted, questioning things.
You have some thinking.
Yeah, so it's not just to go and have a nice relaxing kickback and, you know.
More than that.
It's more than that.
Yes, sure. Yes. And thank you so much for having you here.
A pleasure.
And wish you a successful concert.
Thank you so much.
And I hope that more and more people can go into the concert hall to watch a concert, to be in the music, as we said before.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
That's the whole point.
Yes.